Hey folks, welcome to another weekly update. It's officially past week 10, which means I'm 1/5 of the way through this challenge technically. And unfortunately, last week I lost a bit of money again, down $260. So now I'm only at $1,000. So if you look at this blue line here, I have quite a lot of catch up to do. And even though I made a net premium last week of $77 from selling options, I was still down overall, mostly because the price of Alphabet just continues to fall. You can see over the last 3 weeks, the stock price just kept dropping. So let's take a look at what happened last week and then we'll get into my strategy for this week. So I sold a put at 104 and another one at 95, I believe. The 95 put did not get assigned, but the 104 did because obviously Google fell to like $98 at the end of the week. And of course, that means my call options expired out of the money. And because my 104 put expired in the money, what that meant was I had to buy another 100 shares at 104. So my total capital usage in Canadian dollars is about 12,000, and I now have 300 shares. So at the start of last week, I had 200, and because I was able to buy the shares for much cheaper than in the past, I was able to lower my average cost basis down to 107 now. So because I have 300 shares, there's quite a lot I can do with it. For example, writing covered calls. And the more shares I have, the more calls I can write and the more premiums I can make. So that's one of the good things about selling put options and then getting exercised. So let's take a look at what the stock is doing this week. Obviously, that previous channel, the one that was going up, this one is no longer in play because we broke through that. And usually when a range gets broken, it doubles. So if I drag this down, it looks like Alphabet could reach, if this strong downward move continues, to about $93. Now, stocks usually don't go in a straight line, so I would expect there to be a pullback sometime pretty soon. But the expected price is around the low 90s. So let's take a look at this smaller channel here and see where it might be going. So it looks like we have this new narrower channel here that can be approximated with something like this. We had a break of the channel up here where it tried to go up and touch the EMA, but it fell, and we can see that there was strong selling pressure to get the stock back into this channel. So it's likely we might see another breakout, but on the bottom side this time before going back into the channel. So definitely a lot more downside right now than there is upside. And in the short term, traders control the market. So even though I want the stock to ultimately go up, I can see that at least in the short term, that's probably not going to happen. If the stock comes down to the bottom of this trend line, it might then bounce and try to go back up, but even then we're still looking at the like $90 to $95 range, so still pretty low down there. Now today is Monday, so what I'm looking at is on September 30th, which is the Friday, where would the stock likely end up? And if I draw a vertical line on September 30th here, this would represent the end of the week. So if I make a horizontal line where the bottom of this channel meets the blue line, it would be here. And we can see that is roughly $90. So that would be my next target for Google stock. If we don't get any new economic news this week, we'll probably end the week between $91 and $100 here. So what that means is I'll probably set my put strike in the low 90s. And for my call, I can write 3 call options now. So my call options are probably going to make up the most of my option premiums for this week. And maybe I'll put that, I'll get rid of that line. Maybe I'll put that around the 105 range because it's high enough away from this channel that even if we get a breakout again and we get the stock moving up so that it doubles this channel, you can see it's basically right at the 105. So it's not likely to go higher than that. That's going to be pretty strong resistance there. And also even just breaking the channel on the top side here, that's going to be a resistance as well. Plus, don't forget, we also have the EMA coming here. So right now it's over here, but based on the trajectory of the stock price, it looks like it's going to continue going down like that. That's quite a lot of resistance before it can go past 105. Alphabet is currently trading at 98.5 today. Is it possible that it would go below 91? Yes, but I think what I'll do if it ends up going to like 94 or 93 on a Thursday or near the end of the week is I will just close out most or all of my options then. And even if I take loss, at least I'll have a chance next week to continue writing more puts at an even lower strike price. And I think for the calls, depending on how many I do, I may close one or a couple of them if the stock moves up very aggressively. We don't have a lot of large economic data coming out this week, so I wouldn't expect the stock to be very volatile. So I think those are pretty good price targets for me to set my strike prices. Let's take a look at the option chain. And it's nice to see that Alphabet has an IV of 43.7 this week. That's one of the higher implied volatility ranges that I've seen, which is good for selling options. I'll turn on Strategy Builder, and I'll start with my put options. So at $91, I can make, you can see $18, $19 here per contract, and that will give me a delta of 7.5. So that's pretty low. So there's more than a 90% chance of the stock not going below that. So I will sell that leg there. And on the call side, I will go up to $105 strike. And it looks like it's going to be about the same premiums from that as well, $18 or $19. So I'll click on that. And for the quantity, I'm going to set 3 each. So right now, I'm not sure which direction the stock is going to go because I haven't seen a really strong support or resistance in any direction. So I'm not going to be making any spreads this week. I want to be more certain that the stock, kind of like here where it bounced off the bottom, right? So like over here, it's very likely that the stock will continue going up also over here because in the past, it's bounced off of this support level and the stock has gone up. So like over here, I would probably be very aggressive in buying. But right now, we're kind of in this new pattern. And although the stock is most likely going to continue down just because we've had like over a month of this pattern, but because there aren't any clear support or resistance levels, I'm not very confident in my projections, at least for this week. I will set my price to 38 for now, and I'll probably work my way down and hit transmit. So I'll go down 1 cent to 37 and see if this fills.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
Okay, and all 3 have been filled here at 37 cents. So we'll have to see by the end of the week where Alphabet lands. One of the good things about this company is they are buying back a lot of shares. I recently saw this Seeking Alpha article where Google could be purchasing a $100 billion worth of their own stock next year. And that's basically worth an entire year's of free cash flow for them. And they've been buying back shares aggressively over the last couple of years. They bought back a whole bunch of stock this year, and they're planning to do more next year because the cheaper the stock price, the more worth it is for the company itself. Then that means every shareholder today will own a slightly bigger piece after a share buyback. And we can calculate by how much. If we take 100 billion divided by the current market cap, 1,286 billion. So if they do this, it's going to give every shareholder about 7.8% additional value on top of any capital appreciation. So not only can you get Google stocks for really cheap today at less than $100, but you also have that potential of Google buying back a lot of shares next year. Now, maybe they won't buy back $100 billion, but even if Google just did what they did this year, which is $70 billion in 2022, then that's still pretty good. You're still looking at like a 5-6% added value to shareholders. So because of that, I don't think the shares of Google will fall too much, is because people realize that they can invest in a really good company now with future growth prospects, and also the company is a net buyer of their own stock. So let's see what happens by the end of this week, and I'll give you guys another update next week. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.